Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling confused, drained, or like you just lost an argument you didn't even know you were having? You might be dealing with a narcissist. But here's the problem. Narcissists don't walk around with warning labels. In fact, they're often the most charming people in the room. So how do you see through the mask before you get hurt? Most advice says, look for red flags. But your emotions can be tricked. Your ego can be flattered. That's why you need something stronger. You need Stoic rules. The ancient Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca, weren't psychologists, but they were masters of spotting manipulation. Today, we're going to use 3 timeless Stoic rules to spot a narcissist. Rule number 1 comes from Epictetus. It's called the Dichotomy of Control. Here's the idea. Everything in life is divided into 2 categories: what you control and what you do not control. You control your judgments, your actions, and your reactions. You do not control other people's opinions, their moods, or their choices. Now, here's how you use this to spot a narcissist. Watch how they react when something falls into the second category. Something they cannot control. For example, a flight gets delayed. A normal person says, "This is frustrating, but I can't control the weather." A narcissist, they rage at the gate agent. Why? Because deep down, they believe everything should bend to their will. They have not internalized the dichotomy of control. Here is the test. Next time you're with someone, casually mention something that went wrong, that was totally out of everyone's hands, like a traffic jam or a broken ATM. A healthy person accepts it. A narcissist will blame someone, anyone, or throw a subtle tantrum. Stoics know. A person who cannot accept what they don't control will eventually try to control you. Rule number 2 comes from Marcus Aurelius. He wrote, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." Now, this sounds simple, but it exposes narcissism instantly. You see, a narcissist is obsessed with the appearance of goodness, not the action itself. Here's the Stoic test. Watch what they do when there's no audience. A normal person returns the shopping cart to the corral, even when no one is watching. A normal person helps a co-worker and doesn't post about it on LinkedIn. A narcissist, they perform kindness for applause, and when the spotlight is off, the generosity vanishes. Here is a practical test. Do a small favor for them without the masking. Then, quietly notice if they ever reciprocate. A Stoic doesn't keep score out of pettiness. They keep score out of observation. If every exchange feels like a transaction where you're the only one giving, you're not dealing with a friend. You're dealing with a user. Seneca said, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood." A narcissist doesn't want to understand you. They want to use you. Rule number 3 is my favorite. The Stoics called it the view from above. Imagine you're a bird flying over a city. You see everything. The drama, the arguments, the power struggles. From up there, they all look small. Now apply that to a narcissist. Narcissists live in the small world. Everything is about status, slights, and superiority. They cannot take the view from above because that would mean admitting they are just one tiny person on a tiny planet. Here's how you spot this. Bring up a topic that has nothing to do with them. A scientific discovery, a historical event, a stranger's good fortune. Watch their face. A healthy person shows curiosity. A narcissist looks bored, or worse, they find a way to turn the topic back to themselves. The mirror test. Ask them, what's something you admire in someone else that you don't have yourself? A normal person can answer this easily. A narcissist will either struggle, or they'll say something like, "I don't really admire anyone. I prefer to be the standard." That's your answer. The Stoics knew, a person who cannot look up and see a world bigger than their own ego will eventually crush yours to feel taller. So let's recap the 3 Stoic rules to spot a narcissist. 1. The Dichotomy of Control. Watch how they react to things they can't change. Frustration is normal. Rage and blame are a warning. 2. Charitable versus self-serving actions. Observe what they do when no one is watching. If the performance ends when the audience leaves, so should you. 3. The view from above. Notice if they can admire others or find wonder in a world that doesn't revolve around them. Here's the final Stoic truth. You cannot change a narcissist. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Your power isn't in fixing them. It's in spotting them early and protecting your peace.